It has been quite the morning, I guess, overnight as well. And we just heard from the Premier speaking at Queen's Park as they debate Bill 31. And Mel, you're joining me now. It's similar to what he's done regularly. He talks about the people, and this is what the people want, even though surveys we've seen in the city saying we don't want this. And he kind of went all over the place. Said City Hall's now been dysfunctional for decades as opposed to years. Also, he talked about transit across the province, promising places like Niagara. Hallway healthcare as well, he touched on. It was all over the place, his speech.
It was, and I think his intention here was not to just localize it to what's happening in Toronto, right? But what was really interesting was you could hear that siren, the siren from the protesters outside where our Tammy Sutherland is, clearly over Premier Ford speaking, and that was, of course, the intention. So let's bring in our Tammy Sutherland, who is standing outside right now. We know that the protesting has ramped up, and it is so loud outside where you are, Tammy, right now. What does the feel like? And they are not slowing down.
No, not at all. And we can tell you that there were hundreds of people out here on the lawn earlier this morning. Now there's only just over 50 people who remain here protesting, but it sounds like there are still hundreds of people just because of the amount of noise that they're making. And they intentionally organized against that wall to bang as loud as possible while Premier Doug Ford was speaking. Now, he said during his speech inside the legislature that Bill 31 is going to be passed and nothing will stop the government from doing so. They want to provide a better, more efficient municipal government here in Toronto. And Premier Ford also made no bones about it, saying that the NDP and the opposition party is the one behind this delay and, of course, this midnight session.
We came here yesterday ready to pass Bill 31 and move on to other important items of business. But the NDP played their political games, played their delay tactics. But my friends, while the NDP might have stopped us from being able to get this done yesterday, but they won't stop us from delivering better municipal government.
And what was also interesting about Doug Ford's speech is that he said that nothing will stop the government from passing this, including professional activists who we've seen over the last couple of days. That's a quote there. And that is something that we're hoping to get some more reaction from protesters here about. Again, that vote on the second reading should be happening shortly, and we'll bring you any more information, of course, live here from Queen's Park. Mel, I'll send it back to you for now.
Tammy, thank you for that. We're going to check in with you in a few minutes' time because no doubt there's going to be a lot more reaction coming out of Queen's Park, both from inside the legislature and outside, so do stand by for that one. Meanwhile, the number of council seats there up in the air. However, Toronto's mayoral candidates, they are still proceeding with the transit debate. Just weeks to go until the October 22nd election. Transit advocacy groups holding a debate on Wednesday. It's going to be happening at the Scarborough campus at U of T at 7 p.m. Among the candidates invited, John Tory and Jennifer Keesmaat, who have already exchanged public barbs over their transit-related campaign promises. Fares and service improvements expected to be the hot-button issues here. Now, this morning, mayoral candidate Jennifer Keesmaat will be announcing her public safety strategy at 11 a.m. She will be joined by a policing expert at this Scarborough event, so we'll be watching for that one. It is 6:34 right now. We're going to go upstairs to Frank.